Welcome to Health Sciences Update. I'm Taryn Roloff, Director of Communications for the WSU Spokane Health Sciences Campus. Joining me today is Dr. Gary Pollack, the Dean of the College of Pharmacy. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So we're first going to talk about curriculum.
Sure.
You just recently were featured in a national trade magazine for your great work around curriculum in the College of Pharmacy. So let's hear about that first. We will.
Well, we are trying to establish our program as being the most progressive pharmacy education program in the country. And so we're taking a multi-stage approach to this. I mean, there's obviously only so much you can do at any one time. So we've gone through 3 steps so far. The first one is we have fully adopted what we describe as a competency-based approach to assessing student performance, or exams if you want to think of it that way. And pharmacy, as many health professions programs are, is a little bit interesting because we are demanded by our accrediting organization to deliver the curriculum in a competency-based manner. So we tell students exactly what they need to know, exactly what they need to be able to do, and we teach to those expectations. But then when it comes to examining students and determining what they know, oftentimes faculty will sit in their office and say, well, this sounds like an interesting question, maybe I'll ask this, instead of linking the questions directly to the competencies that we say students must establish. And so we have fully embraced that. We just completed our 3rd year of a 3-year transition to competency-based examination with a different grading scale. So we no longer use A through F, in which we grade one student against all the other students, so there's a lot of competition for grades. Instead, we grade students based on how they perform relative to an external standard, so they can get an honors grade or a satisfactory grade or fail if they fail to develop competency. So this has resulted in a couple of very, very fundamental changes for us. One is that students no longer compete against each other. They help each other, which is unusual for a health professions program. In fact, the first year we adopted this, our students adopted a motto, "No pharmacy student left behind." So they helped each other out, which was a very important transition for us to make if we truly believe that healthcare provision should be a team sport and not an individual one. The second thing that it did, though, is our approach provides the faculty with an opportunity to re-engage students very quickly. So we examine our students once every other week instead of having a midterm in early October and the faculty not really getting a chance to grade it and return it until Thanksgiving. If at that point you identify a weakness in a student, it's game over. You know, there's no opportunity to correct that deficiency. Now, once we examine our students every 2 weeks, we can correct misconceptions, correct deficiencies in a meaningful time frame. So for context, roughly 1 in 7 first-year pharmacy students nationally falls behind her or his cohort, fails a course, washes out of the program. It's a real retention problem. Before we made this transition, our statistics were a little bit better. We were losing about 1 student in 10 in the first semester of the first year. In the 3 years that we've been taking this approach for our first-year students, we haven't lost a single one. And we would have expected, given our class sizes, losing somewhere around 25 to 30 students during that time frame. So the impact of this change has been remarkable. The second thing that we've done, and we just completed the first year of a 3-year plan here, is to embrace what we refer to as an active and collaborative learning model in the classroom, so that we no longer lecture to students. So we don't do to students what I'm doing to you now, just yap, yap, yap with facts. We give them all the content outside of the classroom, and then when students come in, they work with a faculty guide around how that material is applied to solve real-world problems for individual patients, for patient populations, whatever the issue happens to be. So we've done that with our first-year courses this year. Next year we'll go on to our second-year courses, and then in the 3rd year of the project we will have an entire curriculum that's active learning based. And I'm not aware of a pharmacy program in the country that has done this.
Really?
And it's something that we'll all have to do eventually. All the signals are there that health professions programs will have to be delivered in an active learning mode for the preponderance of the curriculum. We're just out in front of the curve. And the third thing that we've done is we've opened up a second site for our Doctor of Pharmacy program in Yakima, with a focus on provision of health care to rural and underserved populations. And so this is giving us an opportunity to evaluate our curriculum from a slightly different perspective, making sure that we have elements within our curriculum that would be meaningful for students who envision themselves as practicing in underserved areas, predominantly but not exclusively rural. So we've been doing what I think is a lot of interesting stuff on the curricular side.
Absolutely. So talk a little bit more about Yakima then, because that is, as you say, your second site, and pretty unique opportunity to be, are we in the, correct me if I'm wrong, we're with the private college there, is that, or private university there?
That's right. So we have a partnership with Pacific Northwest University of Health Sciences, which houses the state's only Doctor of Osteopathy program. And the model of having multiple campus locations for a pharmacy program is not unusual. There are many colleges and schools of pharmacy nationally that have more than one campus location, oftentimes, but not exclusively, associated with underserved areas. So taking kind of the philosophy that we did in selecting Yakima as a second site, where there's a fairly large Hispanic population associated with the agricultural hub in the center of Washington State, clearly in need of other healthcare options. And so we've been reaching out to students with the concept that if you see yourself pursuing this kind of career path, then Yakima would be the place for you. This year was our inaugural class there. We started with a group of 30 students, which for a launch of a second pharmacy site is a relatively large cohort. They have been a phenomenally good group of students to begin a program like this. They've been very independent. They have been very responsive to our requests for input on what are we doing well, where can we improve, and PNWU has been a wonderful partner for this. So they've made the process as easy, I think, as it could possibly be. The fact that the faculty had committed to pursuing an active learning model for delivery of coursework was really key for the launch of Yakima, because now we don't have to worry about reconfiguring a faculty at the distance site. All of the content is developed in Spokane by our faculty here, and then we hire faculty in Yakima from the application side to engage students on, okay, you've already looked at the stuff that came to you from Spokane. Now, how do we use it in a meaningful way? And wherever the discussion is possible, how could we use it in Yakima for patients like the ones that we'll see here?
Right. So do you actually recruit from local, or obviously they have to go to undergrad, but high schools or in those areas, or is it just so, I don't know, popular that you don't even have to recruit too much for that site?
We haven't developed a pipeline yet at the high school level. That's something that we want to do. It's interesting that there's a lot of chatter in the academic pharmacy community about the profession of pharmacy kind of reaching its limit, that positions are being saturated. We have a number of different programs popping up, pharmacy education programs around the country. Perhaps we've allowed too many to become established. Maybe we're graduating too many doctor of pharmacy students, and the economy just can't handle them all. We totally reject that notion. With the Affordable Care Act coming fully online, we have so many basic healthcare needs in the country and so many regions of the country where there are just no healthcare options, that we really feel there will be more opportunities for pharmacists in the future rather than fewer. So we've looked at application trends, and this year applications were running, the data go back to about March, about 10% less nationally than the preceding year, so kind of consistent with the storytelling that's going on, that
Right.
maybe there isn't as much interest in pharmacy programs. Applications to our program were up by 33% relative to the same point last year. And then when you look at the applications data, it's not that fewer students are applying to entry into pharmacy programs. The students who are applying are just applying to fewer programs. So they're making smart decisions
right.
early on. The fact that our applications are up and up significantly while applications are down nationally suggests to us that students are recognizing that we're doing something fundamentally different here, and that in their opinion what we're doing will support their career aspirations. So we're really happy about that.
That's fabulous. All right, so talk a little bit about the doctoral program in the pharmaceutical sciences.
Sure.
That's different than pharmacy.
Yes.
Okay.
So the Doctor of Pharmacy degree is directed at students who envision themselves as being pharmacy practitioners. Now, they may not actually go down that path, but it's the degree that's required to be a healthcare practitioner. The Doctor of Philosophy, or PhD degree, is sought by students who envision themselves as going into the pharmaceutical industry on the research side, perhaps pursuing a faculty career, which would require at most, at least research-intensive universities like Washington State, a significant research component from the faculty, or perhaps going into a regulatory agency such as the Food and Drug Administration, looking at new drug applications from a scientific perspective. So when I arrived here in 2010, we had a very, very small PhD program. Less than 10 students were interested in pursuing the PhD with College of Pharmacy faculty, just not competitive nationally. So our aspirational goal for the PhD program is to have a steady population of around 50 students at any one time, which would make us one of the larger pharmaceutical sciences programs in the country. This fall we will have approximately 30 students in our PhD program. So we're a little bit more than halfway to our aspirational goal. Given where we started and when we started, we're right on track to hit a population of 50 by 2020, which is the end of our current strategic planning period.
You've been very busy in your 6 years here.
My faculty have been very busy. Deans go to a lot of meetings, we write a lot of memos. The faculty are the ones who really do the work. And I've been very, very fortunate to have just a wonderful faculty with whom to collaborate. They have taken on a very heavy load and done really much, much more in 6 years than what you would expect from a group of faculty, beginning with the transition of the College of Pharmacy from Pullman to Spokane. I mean, that kind of inter-campus move just isn't done by programs. We had no roadmap to follow to get that done. It was phenomenally disruptive to individual faculty and to the program, but it was something that absolutely had to happen in order for the college to meet its potential. So we went through that. We went through accreditation review. We've changed our curriculum on a couple of different domains.
New building.
We've finished a building project, moved into that, which was also extremely important for us. We've grown the graduate program 5-fold. We've grown our research funding about 7 or 8-fold. And we've increased the size of our Doctor of Pharmacy program almost 2-fold in that period of time. I'm not aware of any pharmacy program in the country that has gone through nearly the transition and growth that we have over the last 5 or 6 years. Or maybe there has never been a program like this in the history of academic pharmacy with this kind of change over that confined a period of time. So it's been a really remarkable transition, and the burden has been borne entirely by the faculty.
Very nice. Well, tell us a little bit about this room that we're in, the compounding room, is that right?
Yeah. So this room is a teaching laboratory where we predominantly pursue compounding sciences. So when a patient goes into a pharmacy and needs a specialty product, something that's not just off the shelf, a cream or an ointment or a special solution to take orally. A compounding pharmacist will go ahead and create that. And compounding pharmacy has been in the news recently, actually over the last couple of years, from kind of a negative perspective, that there hasn't been enough oversight, enough controls, and there have been some problems with quality of the products that are produced. Fortunately, not from graduates of Washington State University or even on this side of the country. But it's an issue that we're very, very attentive to, because if we want to really personalize healthcare for individuals, which is a way that we are really committed to going, we have to prepare our graduates to be able to personalize their services to students. And one way they can do that is through compounding specialty products for their patients.
Very good. All right, well, we are out of time, actually.
Okay.
But if there was one more thing you wanted to say, we could go there, or I can just thank you very much for
Well,
your time now.
There is one more
All
thing
right.
I'd like to say. Go Cougs.
All right, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on this edition of Health Sciences Update.